Hey friends! In today's video, I'm going to be showing you my lowercase hand-lettered alphabet using a whole bunch of different pens. I occasionally get questions from people wanting to see what my alphabet looks like or wanting to see what a specific pen looks like, so I thought that this would be a really good opportunity to just write out my lowercase alphabet using a whole bunch of different pens, and then also sharing with you some real-time lettering because I know that a lot of you tell me when I put real-time lettering in my videos that it's really helpful. So let's just get right into the video with our first marker. The first one that I'm showing you here is the Sharpie stained brush pen, and this is a marker that I don't believe was created for hand lettering. Sometimes when I post this on Instagram, I use the black one quite often on my Instagram. And sometimes when I talk about it, I will get messages from people asking me which brush pen it is or where to find it because they're only finding the Sharpie stained fabric markers. And that is actually what these are. I believe they were just created to letter on fabric, or maybe not even letter, just specifically write on fabric. But I have seen them all over in the hand lettering community, and they seem to be a favorite once people start trying them. So yes, these are the ones that say that they are fabric markers, and I think that's one of the reasons probably why they're so juicy. You can't quite tell from this one, and actually this pink is quite a bit more muted in this video than it is in real life. It's quite a bit more of a fluorescent pink, and it's just really not showing up on camera, but just be aware of that. It's not a soft pink at all. It's very, very bright. And like I said, I use the black one on my Instagram, which is also just a very deep color, and I've used these quite a bit, and I haven't noticed any fraying that I've been able to tell. And that's not to say that they won't fray, but I tested out one of them a whole bunch when I first got it just to see if it would dry out quickly, because like I said, it does have a lot of liquid that comes out, and it really did not dry out at all. So I've had really good luck with these, and I just think that the tips are the perfect size. They're kind of big where you can get those really nice thick and thin strokes, but they're not so big that you struggle to control it. So I think these are a really good beginner pen. I do wish they had a larger color variety. I end up using the black a lot, but maybe they will come out with some more. So the next one that I'm showing you is this Sharpie Brush Pen, and these are different from the Sharpie stained. These are actually a brush pen, and as you can see, the tip is very thin. So I got these somewhat recently, and I think they might be a newer product. I'm not positive, but I hadn't seen them much before I purchased them. And they're really different. They're really unique because that tip is so thin that you just have to be kind of slow with your transitions from your thick downstroke to your thin upstroke. Otherwise, it can get that look where it goes all the way from thick and then kind of flops over. You can kind of see that at the bottom of my H, where it doesn't transition nicely. It just kind of flops from one to the other. So going quite a bit slower can really help with those transitions, and just kind of trying to have gentle pressure when you're coming back up, kind of ease your way in to your upstroke. You can kind of see where I struggle with some of these here, just when I try to go too fast and go too quick. So that is a perfect example of why I talk about lettering slowly and how that can really help, and also why I talk about picking up that brush pen after every stroke or a couple of strokes and just kind of realigning your pressure so that you can take it one stroke at a time and really focus on those transitions rather than just going quickly and ending up wanting to redo it or having it look not how you were trying to have it look. And I will go ahead and speed these up where I have the opportunity, just so this video doesn't get too long. I think you guys will have a lot of real-time lettering here. The next one I'm going to show you is this Faber-Castell Pit Artist Brush Pen, and I've had these for quite a while. I did notice that this one was pretty, I don't know if it's frayed or if it just kind of started fanning out at the end, but the tip definitely does not feel as crisp or sharp, but I still actually thought I got some really nice lettering with it. I have used these quite a bit, and so for these to still be working and looking as good as they do, I'm pretty satisfied with that. I like these because I think that the size is really nice. You can also get some nice thick and thin strokes because they're very, very flexible. They're just really bouncy. They bounce back really nicely. And they also come in quite a few different colors and they're very pretty. So I always love when I can find more muted colors or sometimes neutral colors. You can see that there are some times where I'm rotating my pen. I'm not sure if that's just out of habit or if it's a necessity with this one, but it is really flexible, so you shouldn't have like a huge problem with that. But like I said, this is a pretty old pen. I maybe got it like a year ago, so that definitely could be why. Another thing that I wanted to mention with these is that they actually have a dual-ended nib, so if you do have a frayed brush pen, which I probably should have checked before making this video, you can just pull that nib out and flip it over and you will have a brand new brush tip on the other side. Because of that, I think that sometimes the tips can get pulled out a little bit or be pushed in a little bit. So I have noticed some variation, especially between the color ones and the black, that like some might seem a little bit longer than others. So just know that you might be able to adjust it, but it is totally worth it in my opinion because you can get 2 tips just in one pen. So I'll link a video below showing that process just in case you're confused about what I'm talking about. But I have 2 pens that I know of that do that and it's a really awesome trick. So the next pen that I'm going to show you are these Marvy Cheetah, I think is how you say it, color and brush markers. And these were a pen that I just randomly grabbed one day when I was trying out a whole bunch of different pens and I wasn't really familiar with them, but I found them randomly on a shelf and I was pretty much just buying anything that said brush pen. A lot of them that I tried out that day were fails, but these became one of my favorites, and every time that I use them on YouTube, I get so many questions about what is that brush pen. I think part of it is the flexibility, and then the other part of it is they have really fun colors. So again, I'll link the video where I show more of these in the description box below, or you can see me use them quite a bit on Instagram at How to Hand Letter. And I really love these pens because of how they write. I know I mentioned the colors, which I really do love, but these are also really nice to write with because they're so flexible. So I just find that when I'm writing, especially in this more like upright and kind of even hand lettering style, they just have a really nice look to them because they are so bouncy and you can push pretty hard and you can get some really thick downstrokes with these. I do notice again with these that sometimes the tip looks like it might be coming out a little bit, so you can just adjust them if you need to. And you might notice if you get a whole pack that some of them write a little bit differently, so just kind of look and see how far it's sticking out and if you need to do any adjusting. But I really love these. And the next brush pen that I'm going to show you are these Zig Futu brush pens, and I think these are also pretty good for beginners because the tips are a little bit shorter than some of the other larger size brush pens, and so they can be really easy, well, I shouldn't say really easy, but they can be a bit easier to control than some of the longer, more floppy brush pens. And so I think these are a great place to start if you are looking to get into brush lettering, but you're having trouble with some of the bigger or more bendy brush pens. So I would definitely recommend trying these, and they also come in really pretty colors. So these are ones that I used to use quite often, but I haven't pulled them out recently. They do seem to be a favorite for a lot of people. So let me know in the comments below if you have tried these and what you think of them. So the next marker that I'm going to show you is not technically a brush pen, at least I don't think it is. It is the Crayola Broad Tip marker, and I always feel like I need to add these in here when I do these types of videos because I don't ever want people to think that I'm recommending that you have like a million different types of pens in order to create hand lettering. I really don't feel that way at all, and I really feel that you can get some really nice hand lettering with these Crayola markers. So if you are in a location where you can grab these inexpensively, I definitely recommend that you try them. I know that that's not the case for everybody, and so please don't think that I am saying you should go spend a ton of money trying to find them. The main draw with the Crayola markers is because if you do have them local to you, they're typically super inexpensive, just a couple dollars for a whole pack. And so that can make them kind of a great alternative if you're not wanting to spend a lot on brush pens. They're not like amazing brush pens or anything, but because of the way that they are shaped, you can kind of get that brush pen look by applying a lot more pressure when you do your downstrokes. And that is one thing that sometimes people ask me is if I'm turning my pen, like writing really upright to get the thin upstroke and then kind of turning it on its side to get the downstroke. And I'm not, I'm just adding more pressure when I'm pushing my pen down, and then I'm kind of lessening my pressure when I'm going back up. So that is how I use these, and I will, again, I keep saying this, but I will link a video below for those of you who might have more questions about lettering with Crayola markers. And the next pen that I'm going to show you is another favorite of a lot of beginner letterers, and that is the PenTell Touch pen. And there is a difference between the PenTell Touch pen and the PenTell Sign pen, I think it's called. They have several different names when you're ordering online. So just be aware of that when you are ordering, and make sure that you're looking for the one that has a brush tip. And I know that this is a little bit far away, but I wanted you to see the size difference and how many letters fit on one line versus some of the larger brush pens, because this is quite a bit smaller than most of the other brush pens that I'm showing here today. I think I'm showing one more pretty small one, but I love these pens for beginners because they are so small that you can kind of practice your thick and thins without having to also make really large movements. And these are great for writing really small. I haven't really mastered writing large lettering with them. I think that some people do a bit larger than I typically do, but I really like these for just small hand lettering, even for beginners as well. If you're looking for something a little bit smaller, or if you're struggling with some of the larger brush pens, I think that these are a great place to start. I also really like these for a smaller, more bouncy style lettering, not something with like very big writing, but those more kind of whimsical styled bouncy lettering. I think that these work really great for. And these are also a great option if you're wanting to do brush lettering in your journal or your Bible journal, or something where you don't want huge words, or you're going to be writing on a smaller piece of paper, because you can kind of fit in a little bit more than if you're using a large brush pen. And this brush pen that I'm showing you, I'm just going to show you the brush tip side, and this is the Staedtler brush pen, and I really don't use these very often. I find that they don't have a lot of bounce to them, and so I struggle a little bit more with these ones on getting really thin upstrokes. As you can see, there definitely is a variation, but it's just not quite the same as some of the other bouncier brush pens out there where you really get a thin upstroke and you don't really have to go back and correct it as much. I do like that they have a lot of pretty colors, and they also have a bullet tip on this pen. So if you're curious about this, definitely let me know in the comments below. But I don't, like I said, use this a whole often. So unless you've seen the video where, like when I first got these, you probably haven't seen me use these too much on this channel. But definitely let me know if you have tried these and if you like them, or if you want to see them used more. And the next brush pen that I'm going to show you is this Kelly Creates brush pen, but I'm only going to show you this thin side just because I have done a review, I believe, on this, or at least shown it quite a bit more in at least the haul video. And so I'm just going to show you this side that people seem to be really curious about, because that tip is very, very thin. It actually reminds me a little bit of that Sharpie brush pen that I showed earlier, where it's just really thin so that you can get a super, super thin upstroke. So it's definitely a fun pen to try. I do think that these are a little bit easier to write with if I'm writing at a slant, which is not my normal hand lettering style. I write pretty upright, and so it's a little bit different for me to write at a slant. So I definitely can compare these two later on in another video, but for today I'm just writing in my regular kind of simplified hand lettering style, and so I'm trying to write pretty upright with these, and they are definitely different than most of the other pens that I have tried. Let me know if you have tried these and what you think of them if you've tried them before. So the next brush pen that I'm going to show you are these Taki metallic brush pens, and these are either very similar or identical to the Zig Futu, but I feel that they write really differently. They are metallic pens, and so I'm not sure if that means that they are paint pens, but they sure feel a lot like it. They come out with very thick ink or paint or whatever's inside there, and you can also use these on like a black cardstock. I love this set, and I just want to point out, because this will be something I talk about later with another pen, that I have had this set for a super long time, at least a year. I should have gone back and looked at the date, but these were one of the very first brush pens that I got. I got a set of like 4 different types of brush pens, and I believe that this was in that set or maybe the next time that I ordered. And I got these brush pens probably a year and a half ago, and maybe even going on 2 years. And they are still writing really nicely. They felt a little bit thick, but that's definitely to be expected after a couple of years or even 1 year. So that was really nice to see, and I probably should order another pack of these to replace these old ones I have, but I was pretty impressed to see that they are still working after all this time. And these do fray a little bit, but I haven't noticed that they are a pen that really drives me crazy when they fray. So I still keep using them, and I still think they look pretty good. This next pen here is the Crayola Brush Pen, and you can't tell because apparently the Crayola has maybe rubbed off from me using it, but these are their brush pens, and these come in some pretty colors, and they're also a dual tip, so you can see that there is another end there. The dual tips, if I remember right, don't always match the color of the brush pen, but it's nice to have as an option there. And these kind of remind me a little bit of the Staedtler brush pens. Again, they're nice. You can get those thin upstrokes a little bit, but they're just not always the first thing that I grab. And so I've heard people, I bought these kind of right away when they came out, and they were not super inexpensive, but I have seen people say since then that they've got them on sale or got them for quite a bit cheaper than I paid. So I would definitely look for a sale if you're trying to find them, or maybe see if you can find them at a good price. But I have gotten comments from you guys that you really like these, so let me know if you've tried them and what you think of them in the comments below. So the next pen that I'm going to show you is another metallic marker, and these are the Kelly Creates. I think they're called the Jewel brush pens. They're her metallic line of brush pens, and I did either a review or a haul where I swatched these. And I think I mentioned in that video that I was kind of expecting these to be just like the Zig metallic markers that I just showed you a couple back, but I really didn't find that at all. They do have really pretty colors. I love the color scheme that she has for her markers, especially these ones, but I didn't find them to be really similar to the other ones. And I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think I've actually picked these up and used them since I created that video. If you guys saw that video, you probably know what I'm talking about, but I really have not had a chance to use them. And I was really surprised when I went to use these because they were really dried out, and they were almost like, I don't think I could even get through the whole alphabet without them getting streaky and kind of drying out. So I even tried to recap it and shake it here in a minute, but you definitely can see that it's running out of ink, or the ink got maybe kind of thick or something. I'm not really sure because, like I said, I haven't been using these a whole lot. Maybe not even since that last time that I used them, which was the first time that I got them. So I was a little bit surprised to see that they were kind of already dried out, but maybe it was just a fluke with this one. I will definitely try the rest of them and try to update you in the comments or on Instagram and let you know if maybe it was just this one or if all of them were doing that. And the next product that I'm showing you is another one that's not a brush pen. This is the Crayola SuperTips, and if you can find these inexpensively, these can be another great one for you to try as a beginner. I, again, don't rotate like the angle of my pen. I just press harder when I'm going down and have a lighter stroke when I'm coming back up. I do rotate, I don't know if I mentioned this with the other one, but I do rotate my pen somewhat frequently with these just because the tip is not truly meant to be a brush pen tip, I don't think, at least. And so you will probably find that they will stay bent a little bit. So you can just kind of fix that by rotating your pen. Honestly, I think at this point I pretty much stop and adjust my pen all the time, no matter which one I'm using, just because it helps me to kind of readjust my grip and make sure that I'm feeling comfortable when I'm holding whatever pen I'm using. It just helps me to be able to create a more even hand-lettered alphabet. And the next one that I'm going to show you here is another Kelly Creates brush pen, and this is her really small brush pen, which is kind of similar in size to the PenTell Touch pen and also the Tombow Funosuke. I really liked these when I first tried them, and I had a blue that I just kept writing with over and over to try to get it to run out, and it really never did. And so I'm not sure why this one is running out, because again, I'm not sure that I've used this since I created that first video where I was trying them and testing them and swatching them for you guys. And I think this is, you'll have to remind me if you've seen that video, but I think this is the color that had some like fuzz or something on it. I'm not even sure what it was, but if you guys watch that video, there were a lot of suggestions from people from what that could possibly be. But I think in the video I cleaned it off and it was fine, so I just used it. But it was definitely back when I went to do this video, and I thought that it would just write off pretty easily, but as you guys can see, it really didn't. And in fact, I really had a hard time even getting the pen to write by the end of this. So I'm not really sure what was happening with this one either. You guys know that I use a lot of different brush pens, and I've never really had this experience with really any of the other ones that I've tried. So I'm sorry that it seems like I'm a downer. I'm really not, and I'm gonna try the other colors out as well, and I'll update you with both of these, like I said, either here or on Instagram, and let you know. But yeah, you can kind of see by the end that it's still like leaving black or gray streaks of something. So I know that some of you had tried these pens, so let me know if you've had this problem with any of yours in the comments below, and I will test the other ones out and give you guys an update when I can. And finally, if you guys have made it this far, you must be one of the people who tells me that they like long videos, because I did not expect this to be so long. I was kind of planning on doing like half of real time and then half of sped up, but it just got a little bit long, so I apologize for how long this video is. And so here I am showing you the Tombow dual brush pen, and these are kind of a favorite with everybody. I really like these brush pens, and they have a really good bounce to them. They also have tons of colors and color options, and you can just do a lot with them. I do know that a lot of you guys struggle with these if you are a beginner, and so don't be worried if you get these and they're a struggle for you. The tips are a little bit long, and with them being so flexible, they can just be a little bit harder to control like some of the other longer, thinner brush pens. So don't worry if you need to try something else and kind of get your thicks and thins perfected, and so that those transitions aren't so difficult for you, and then maybe try to jump back into one of these Tombow dual brush pens. But again, I know I say this all the time, but going slow can really help with some of those transitions, and lifting up that pen after those strokes can also really help. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful for you. I just know that a lot of people ask me to see my alphabet or specific pens, and I know that every time I do real-time lettering videos, I get a lot of comments from people saying that that was really helpful, and so I thought I would kind of combine them all into one here. But really the most important thing beyond having a ton of different kinds of pens is just to make sure that you're practicing. Start with drills if you need to, and go into your letter formations after that, and just try to make that thick and thin transition something that you don't really have to think about, and that will help your lettering a whole lot. At least it does for me. One thing that I've also been getting asked is, when I do different styles of hand lettering, I will see comments where people are asking which font I'm using, and really these are just my different hand lettering styles that I've kind of developed over the years of practicing different types of writing and brush lettering and just all kinds of different creative lettering. And so I don't really have an answer for what type of font. I don't like go and look up fonts and try to kind of recreate them. It's just something that kind of morphs over time. I do have the Simplified Lettering Beginner Bundle, which I'm just going to quickly show you. I'm actually making a video about what is in this bundle just because I get so many questions, and so that might not be helpful if you already have this or if you've already tried it, but I just thought that I would speed up some of the footage from that video, or that's going to be in that video, and just mention it here. I will leave the link for this in the description box below. This is for sale in my Etsy shop, and it's a digital file, so it's not a book. It's just something that you can print out and practice on your own, and you definitely don't have to go purchase this. I just thought that I would show you because the lettering style that I've been using in pretty much most of my videos lately, especially if I'm doing brush lettering, is this simplified lettering style. So I will leave a link when I finish that video in the description box below so that you can see what all is in this and kind of why I created it and why it's simplified. But again, if you are just beginning, just start with some drills and just know it takes a lot of practice, and most people don't perfect it overnight. And that is completely okay and completely normal. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you would like to see more videos or shorter lettering video clips, you can follow me on Instagram at howtohandletter. Otherwise, make sure to subscribe if you are not already, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.